Okay, for this video, we want to go over the change of address forms with the IRS. So there's a lot of confusion around when you have to actually file this, and is it really necessary or is it kind of overkill? There's two separate forms. One's for individuals. This is the 8822, and then there's an 8822B that's used to change business addresses. So the forms are relatively straightforward, right? So the 8822, if you're an individual and you moved and you want to change your address, you can complete this form. You just enter your old address and then the new address you want the IRS to update within their system. And so this is important because for obvious reasons, right? I mean, you want to make sure that if the IRS is going to mail you something, it goes to your current address, right? You don't want mail being sent to an old address where you have no way of getting at those documents. And so in some cases, the IRS might mail you something and it could be a letter to the effect of, hey, we've looked at your account and we've changed something. You owe us taxes. If you disagree, you have to respond within 30 days, or else we're just going to make the changes final, and that's it. Well, what if they send the letter out to an old address and you don't get that mail for several months? You've already kind of lost out. So very important to keep your address updated with the IRS. The 8822B for businesses. Businesses are a little different, right? I mean, I think if you change your address during the year, you should file this as soon as possible to make sure that they have updated addresses for your returns and your business location. You can change your address on the annual tax filing. So if we look at a Form 1065, for example, for a partnership return, when you file this return, you can use the most current address, right? So the address you want it to change to. And then in line item G here, you can check the address change box. And so that'll let the IRS system know that when you e-file this return, you have a change of address. So they need to replace whatever's currently on file with this new address here. And then you should be fine. I also recommend all my clients that, let me step back for a second. Although you can change the address here, it's still a good idea to file the 8822B, because what if you move at a certain time during the year, and let's say you move in March, right? So if you move in March or April and you've already filed your return for the previous period, yeah, you can still wait for a year until your next filing to hit the address change box, but you're waiting a year to do that, right? And so if you want to just get the address updated immediately and not have to wait until you file this tax return only once a year, go ahead and file the 8822B, and that'll make sure that the IRS has your most current address on file. I also recommend all my clients to just do a mail forwarding request too for both businesses and individuals. So if you go to the U.S. Postal Service's website, USPS.com, you can do a standard mail forward for a change of address, and that'll last for a year, right? So I think it costs maybe $1. I think you've got to pay them. You have to pay a $1 5-cent identity verification fee. So if you do that for both yourself individually and your company, you can do a change of address for a company as well. Then that'll make sure that any kind of mail that the IRS sends to you during the year will be forwarded at least for long enough that you can get these change of address forms filed, and so they can update the system accordingly.